Long before humans conquered the land, the oceans were a war zone, and the monsters below didn't play nice. Some had jaws like iron traps, others resembled nightmares stitched together by evolution itself. These weren't your typical sea creatures. They were marine beasts that made even the mighty Megalodon look like a goldfish. They hunted in packs, swallowed prey whole, and turned ancient oceans into blood-soaked arenas. Get ready to meet the most super savage and scary sea monsters that tormented the Megalodon and ruled the dark, deep world. Number 15. Dunlopius. When it comes to terrifying sea creatures, Megalodon gets all the credit for being the ocean's heavyweight. But then there's Dunlopius, a prehistoric fish that brought menace to another level. At over 30 feet long, this thing was basically a swimming tank from the Devonian era. It wasn't just tough, it was a predator with a skull that worked like a pair of guillotines. Dunlopius didn't have teeth. Instead, it had bony blades that could snap shut with over 8,000 pounds of force per square inch, more than enough to slice through armor, bone, or just about anything stupid enough to get close. Its head and front body were covered in thick, interlocking plates, making it a literal armored brute. Sure, it wasn't the fastest swimmer, but speed didn't matter when you could end a fight in one bite. With all that brute strength, protective armor, and prehistoric swagger, Dunlopius wasn't just a predator, it was a wrecking ball with fins. Number 14. Sarcosuchus. Now meet a creature that makes modern crocodiles look like featherweights. Say hello to Sarcosuchus, the prehistoric super croc. This monster lived about 112 million years ago during the early Cretaceous and ruled regions that are now Africa and South America. Anything unfortunate enough to cross its path was toast. Sarcosuchus wasn't your average croc. It was way larger and bulkier than today's saltwater giants. Picture a crocodile on overdrive with a jaw that could smash bones like breadsticks. Its enormous mouth was packed with teeth capable of exerting a bite force brutal enough to crush prey instantly. But Sarcosuchus wasn't just lurking around lazily. Its body shape let it move swiftly through water, like an underwater torpedo, and it could stalk land prey just as easily. This versatility made it one of the deadliest predators of its time. Megalodon may have ruled the deep, but Sarcosuchus dominated the shallows and riverbanks. With armored skin and devastating power, it was pure prehistoric nightmare fuel. Number 13. Livyatan. Every once in a while, you get a sea monster so brutal and brain-boggling, it even makes the Bible nervous. Meet Livyatan, also known as Livyatan melvillei, a whale with a reputation fierce enough to echo through mythology and paleontology alike. Unlike the passive giants we know today, this one was pure aggression. Over 50 feet long and weighing around 50 tons, it wasn't just built like a sperm whale, it was the battle-hardened version. Armed with foot-long teeth, it took on everything in its path, including, potentially, Megalodon. Fossil records show these two shared the seas, meaning underwater clashes might have been real. And Livyatan wasn't passive. It was fast, cunning, and absolutely brutal. If sperm whales are the bruisers of the modern sea, this was their berserker ancestor. It didn't need mystery to be terrifying. It had power, precision, and purpose. If there was ever a matchup that could humble the Megalodon, it wasn't another shark. It was a bloodthirsty whale with nothing to lose. And thanks, it's not anymore. Number 12. Dacosaurus. Well, this thing looked like someone had fused a crocodile with a battleship and let it loose underwater. Its name translates to tear lizard, not because it cried, but because it tore through everything. Living between 154 and 100 million years ago, this marine predator wasn't just another sea reptile, it was a hyper-carnivore. It had a broad, flat skull and large, serrated teeth that sliced through prey like steak knives. And it wasn't just going after fish. Squid, marine reptiles, and even animals of their own size were on the menu. Its real weapon was cranial kinesis, That's a fancy way of saying it could move its upper jaw independently, adjusting its bite in real time for extra grip. Fossils have turned up in Europe, South America, and Asia, often alongside the remains of other predators. That suggests Dacosaurus wasn't a solo act. Whether they hunted in packs or just liked company, one thing's clear: this beast didn't share well. Number 11. Liopleurodon. Let's talk about a sea beast that made Megalodon look small. Liopleurodon was no fishtail. It was an underwater tank with speed, stealth, and attitude. This marine reptile stretched up to 82 feet and used its massive flippers like underwater rocket boosters. Built like a hydrodynamic missile, it could glide through water with silent precision. And when it moved, you didn't hear it coming. You just weren't there anymore. Its jaws were packed with conical teeth designed to grip and rip through anything that moved. But what really made it terrifying? Its sense of smell. Liopleurodon could track prey underwater like a bloodhound. While most predators relied on sight, this monster hunted with scent, giving it a terrifying edge in murky waters. From massive fish to ancient crocodiles, nothing was off the menu. The Megalodon might have been king-sized, but Liopleurodon was the deep sea's silent assassin, fast, strategic, and always on target. Number 10. Ichthyosaurus. Ichthyosaurus was the prehistoric sea's answer to a jet ski, fast, sleek, and built to win every underwater race. These marine reptiles ruled Earth's oceans for over 160 million years, long before Megalodon ever grew teeth. Their design was dolphin-like, but way more intimidating. Some species, like Xiphactinus, stretched close to 70 feet long. Their streamlined bodies and long, muscular tails gave them serious speed, and their massive eyes weren't just for show. They helped them see clearly in deep, dark waters where light didn't reach. That vision meant no prey ever got a head start. Their skin was covered in fine scales that reduced drag and boosted their slick movement through the sea. And they weren't picky eaters. Fish, squid, smaller reptiles, anything that fit was fair game. Fossils have been found across all continents, even Antarctica, showing they were global travelers. While Megalodon dominated with size, Ichthyosaurs dominated with speed. These weren't hunters, they were high-speed nightmares with built-in torpedoes. Number 9. Godzilla shark. Godzilla shark wasn't massive, but it had a serious bite. Anything named after Godzilla automatically gets style points, and this prehistoric shark earned them all. Despite the name, it only measured around 6.5 feet long. Not skyscraper-sized, but in its local waters, it was a beast. The fossil found in New Mexico was the largest shark fossil ever unearthed there, which made it king of that corner of the sea. And the name? A nod from the scientist who found it. Clearly a fan of monster movies. But what really makes this shark insane? Its weaponry. It had 12 rows of razor-sharp teeth, ready to replace themselves on command. Most sharks have a few backups. This one came with a whole arsenal. Add to that 2 massive spine fins, each over 2 feet long, sticking out like built-in defense towers. Later renamed Hoffman's dragon shark, it still doesn't match the hype of Godzilla, but it absolutely had the bite to back it up. Number 8. Xiphactinus. Xiphactinus wasn't built to play nice. This prehistoric fish was the Cretaceous version of a torpedo with an attitude. Living between 166 million years ago, it wasn't just fast, it was ruthless. At 20 feet long, it hunted with unshakable confidence, slicing through oceans, lakes, and rivers across North America. Its mouth, wide and terrifying, lined with sharp interlocking teeth ready to bite down on anything moving. Fossils show it swallowed prey nearly half its size whole, and when it wasn't hunting others, it sometimes ate its own kind. Yup, cannibalism was part of its daily routine. Even the skeletons scientists dug up had smaller fish still lodged inside them. Its long, torpedo-like body and powerful pectoral fins made it slick, fast, and deadly. Xiphactinus didn't wait. It lunged, bit, and vanished. While Megalodon might have been the deep-sea brute, this fish was a lightning-fast assassin that killed quickly and didn't stick around for applause. Number 7. Stethacanthus. Stethacanthus wasn't the biggest, strongest, or fastest, but it won the Weirdness Award hands down. This ancient shark didn't go for brute. It showed up at the evolutionary party dressed like a knight. On its back, a bizarre, flat-topped fin covered in bristle-like spikes. Scientists believe it used this iron-board-looking dorsal fin to impress mates or warn rivals. Either way, it looked like a fish trying to cosplay as medieval weaponry. And it didn't stop there. Its head was also lined with these strange denticles, tiny spike-like structures that gave it a wild, jagged look. While it didn't have the buzzsaw jaw of Helicoprion or the brute bite of Dunlopius, it had style and confusion. Even scientists today argue about how it moved, hunted, or even survived. But one thing's clear. In a sea full of slashers and crushers, Stethacanthus went full fashion forward. It may not have eaten you whole, but it'd definitely leave you wondering what on earth just swam by. Number 6. Lion's mane jellyfish. The lion's jellyfish is less jelly, more underwater horror. This floating tangle of doom isn't just a blob with tentacles, it's the largest jellyfish known to science. Its bell alone stretches around 8 to 9 feet across. Impressive. But the real insanity is those tentacles. They can extend over 100 feet, making it longer than a blue whale or even a basketball court. And these aren't soft ribbons. They're packed with thousands of stinging cells ready to fire at anything that brushes by. Fish, crabs, unlucky swimmers, it stings indiscriminately. And unlike some deep-sea creatures that hide out of sight, this monster drifts near the surface, blending in like a harmless shadow until it ruins your day. It lives in cold waters, like the Arctic and North Atlantic, and doesn't care who's swimming where. It's not flashy, it's not fast, but it doesn't need to be. It's massive, silent, and dangerous. Not every sea monster needs jaws. Sometimes all it takes is noodles with venom. Number 5. Helicoprion. Here's a shark that wasn't the biggest, but definitely the strangest. Helicoprion didn't stretch past 25 feet, but what it lacked in size it made up for with one absurd feature, a buzzsaw jaw. Unlike modern sharks, its teeth didn't line the mouth. They spiraled into a circular saw tucked inside its lower jaw. It looked like something engineered for a horror movie, not real life. And yet, it swam the oceans over 250 million years ago. Scientists have been baffled for decades trying to figure out how it even worked. The fossil record mainly shows the terrifying spiral of teeth, leaving the rest of its body a mystery. But one thing's clear, those teeth weren't for show. Helicoprion likely used them to rip through soft-bodied prey like squid with surgical precision. The Megalodon might have had raw strength, but Helicoprion had style, weirdness, and a dental weapon no other sea creature could match. It wasn't just a shark, it was a spinning nightmare with fins. Number 4. Anomalocaris. Now meet the shrimp that broke every rule, Anomalocaris. At over 6 feet long, this ancient predator looked like a shrimp that signed up for the villain arc. Long before fish took over, this beast was dominating the Cambrian seas like a nightmare with armor. Its body had flexible flaps along the sides, helping it glide like a prehistoric underwater drone. But its standout features were those compound eyes, packed with thousands of lenses, and those terrifying front appendages, hooked claws built to snatch and shred. Its vision was unmatched, capable of spotting prey before most creatures even knew what vision was. And its mouth is a circular saw-like ring of plates that spins to crush anything it catches. This wasn't seafood. It was serving seafood nightmares. Anomalocaris wasn't a brute like Mosasaurus or a silent stalker like Liopleurodon. It was speed, precision, and horror rolled into one armored shrimp-like package. Number 3. Tully Monster. Tully Monster is what happens when evolution empties the junk drawer. It's not massive, it's not aggressive, but it's so weird you can't stop staring. This foot-long aquatic oddball looked like someone stuck a vacuum tube to a squid and added googly eyes for chaos. It didn't have a mouth where you'd expect. Instead, it had a long snout ending in a jaw with hooked teeth. Imagine reaching for dinner with a built-in grabber claw. Scientists were stumped for years. Was it a worm, a fish, or some interdimensional accident? Eventually, it got classified as a jawless fish related to the lamprey. Yeah, the eel with a circular mouth of nightmares. The Tully monster wasn't fast or fierce, but it didn't need to be. It existed in a time when weirdness alone got you places. Not scary like Megalodon, but still unsettling enough that if one floated by, you'd absolutely rethink your swim. It's not a monster you run from. It's one you just hope is extinct. Number 2. Tanystropheus. Meet the ocean's most confused design. This semi-aquatic reptile looked like evolution misclicked and just ran with it. Its neck is longer than a traffic jam, twice the length of its entire body. Imagine a giraffe neck slapped on a lizard's frame and tossed into ancient water like a science experiment. But the weird didn't stop there. Its back legs were sturdy, clearly made for swimming like a champ. The front limbs? Not so impressive, almost like it got halfway through adapting and called it a day. Tanystropheus probably fed on fish, piscivore if you want to flex at parties, and had the teeth to prove it. Sharp and spaced just right for catching slippery meals. Fossils have shown fish scales and squid hooks in their belly, confirming their ocean buffet diet. Paleontologists still scratch their heads over this creature's proportions. It's like nature rolled double neck and shrugged. What do you think about this beauty? Well, drop your comments below. Number 1. Mosasaurus. Let's end things with a sea monster that probably rings a bell if you've ever watched a major action flick. Yep, we're talking about the Mosasaurus. Remember that jaw-dropping scene in Jurassic World where a massive beast launches out of the water and devours the villain? That's Mosasaurus putting on a show. This creature was basically the Megalodon's fierce aquatic cousin, ruling ancient oceans like an underwater warlord. Mosasaurs prowled the seas from around 145 million to 66 million years ago. So yeah, they're prehistoric legends. Thankfully, they're stuck in the past, because this predator was a force of nature. It evolved into the perfect ocean predator, built to glide through the seas and feast on anything in its path. And despite the saurus in its name, Mosasaurus wasn't a dinosaur. It was a giant marine reptile, more closely related to modern-day snakes and lizards. So when you picture a terrifying ancient sea beast, think beyond the shark. If you've enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. We'll see you soon.